Hello, it's Miss Jordan here. I'm going to be talking you through what a Bunsen burner is and how to use it. Now, the Bunsen burner was invented in the 1800s by a scientist called Robert Bunsen, and he really wanted a piece of equipment that was safe to use in the laboratory, where he was able to control the flame. Now, before the Bunsen burner was invented, scientists tended to use things like spirit burners or gas lamps, and obviously that was not very safe to heat things with because you couldn't adjust the flame. So the Bunsen burner is quite good in that it can do that, and it's very, very safe. So I've just detached it from the gas tap, which is just out of shot. But here's my Bunsen burner. It has a piece of rubber tubing that I connect to the gas tap. Inside that gas tap is the gas that you have at home, used for cooking. It's totally safe. So we're going to make sure that our Bunsen's nice and stable before we even think about lighting it. I've got it on a heat-proof mat, and that is just to keep my lab bench safe. The base of the Bunsen burner is quite heavy, just so that it can be nice and stable when I set it down. Okay. This part of the Bunsen burner is called the chimney, and that's where the gas comes up through the Bunsen burner. I also have this piece here. I'm going to just zoom in. It is the air hole, and I can control that with the collar. So if I turn it around, you can see the air hole is completely open, or I can shut the air hole so that it's completely closed with that collar. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that my rubber tubing is not too twisted, so it's nice and flat, and I'm going to make sure that my Bunsen burner, that the air hole is closed. I'll explain why in a moment. So I'm going to open up my gas tap, and I'm going to use this clicker to light my flame. Now you can immediately see that we have a nice bright orange flame, and we call that the safety flame because you can see it. Nice and safe for us to use because you can see it. We never use the safety flame to heat things, and that's because it's not quite the right temperature usually, and it also, you can maybe see here in the video, it's producing lots and lots of soot. It still is very hot, it will still burn you, so you've got to be very careful, but we never use the safety flame to heat. We just put it on when we're not using it, when we are maybe away from the bench getting something else and we don't want anyone to burn themselves. And I've achieved that by having the air hole closed. I've turned the collar around so that the air hole is completely closed. Now if I want to heat gently, I will have my air hole half open. And now you can see it's very difficult to see that flame, and it's what we call a blue flame. So the blue flame we use to heat things gently or slowly, and the air hole is half open, half closed. And if I open the air hole completely, I'm not sure if you can hear that, we get the roaring flame. So it's a blue flame, but we call it roaring because you can hear the roar of the flame. The hottest part of that flame is right at the top of the inner cone. So you can't see it very well here, but there are two cones. The top of that inner cone is the hottest part of the flame. So just to recap, we have our air hole completely open and we get a roaring flame, and we use that to heat things fast or strongly. Air hole half open, it's no longer roaring, but it's blue, and we use that when we're heating things slowly or gently. And then we have our safety flame where the air hole is completely closed. That is orange, so we can see it. It also produces lots of soot, and that is for when we are not heating things. So when I want to turn my Bunsen burner off, I make sure that I'm at a safe distance and I turn the gas tap off. Okay, there's no on or off button on our Bunsen, you turn the gas tap off. Now, it might be that your teacher has a Bunsen burner flame going, so I'm just going to get that going again. Turn the gas tap on. And they might give you a piece of wood like this called a splint, a wooden splint. And you might use that to take the flame from your teacher's desk back to your own desk. So you would light that splint, and then you would carry it over to your desk, making sure that your hand is in front of the flame at a sufficient distance that you're not going to burn yourself, just to keep yourself safe. And you walk gently over to your bench. Once you have lit your Bunsen burner, you are then going to put the splint out on the heat-proof mat. Fantastic, so that's how to use a Bunsen burner.